Hi guys, I'm Shmee. Hello, good morning, and welcome back to the channel where today we have a long old drive in this, what I'm going to call my missing AMG Black Series, the CLK 63 AMG Black Series, to head all the way down to LA. It is the end of car week. We're actually here on 17 Mile Drive in Pebble Beach. It is overcast. It's always like this early in the morning, but we've got a long journey ahead of us. My AMG GT Black Series, as you might know, is on the other side of the country, which is a very far distance away from here. But the guys at Mercedes-Benz Classic and the Mercedes-Benz Museum said, hey, how would you like to drive 350 miles down the Pacific Coast Highway to come to the Mercedes Classic Center down there in this thing? And it took me 0 seconds to give them an answer. Of course we will, and that is what we're going to be doing today in this stunning Mars Red example, one of only 700. We're going to talk all about it, enjoy the drive, discuss whether one of these is going to join my GT, SLS and C63 in the future, growing the Black Series collection. I cannot wait for this. Some amazing roads lie ahead. Let's get set because it's pretty cold and chilly here and head down towards the sunshine of Los Angeles. Because it's pretty chilly here, let's have a very quick introduction to this. One of 700 with that 6.2 litre naturally aspirated V8, pretty similar in engine setup to the C63 Black Series, 507 horsepower, 630 Newton meters. This was a really quite expensive car at the time, at least as much as a 911. It's from 2007, so we're talking about 15 years old. The CLK 63 AMG Black Series was the second Black Series model after the SLK, before the SL, and then the 3 that I have. But I think it's one of the most iconic, very DTM-esque. They did also make the DTM with the 5.5 litre supercharged V8, but a car that stands out with its wide arches, its carbon lip spoiler. Inside, just to show you very quickly what we've got here, we've got the seats with some extra bucketing support, everything basically being the more hardcore version. The Black Series has always been this injection of madness into an AMG model, into the existing CLK 63. So let's get this started, let's get on the road, let's go have some fun. In here, we've got this very unusual shifter for the 7-speed AMG Speed Shift gearbox. It's a decade and a half old after all, but let us get on the way, driving down the coast, and the first thing you notice is that rumble of the V8 in the background, and what an engine it is. If you know anything about my videos and my love of the Black Series and of this engine from the SLS and from the C63, you know we're going to be in for a very good time today. The second thing you notice though is how heavy the steering is. It's almost artificially heavy. It's a very strange feeling, I would say, but we're going to head straight on out to go around 17 Mile Drive and get onto the main PCH, the highway that runs down the coast through Big Sur, all the way down, a route that I've driven on a few rallies coming northbound, also I think once or twice on my own coming northbound up towards this region, but never ever heading south, which is really quite unusual. We have some very lovely smooth tarmac around here, some fantastic houses, but we do need to take it quite easy. There is a very aggressive speed limit, so we shall have to maintain that until we can get out onto some more open roads quite shortly. You'll have to take my word for it that on a clear day, the scenery here is just unbelievable. I've actually been at that Outlook with my Ford GT back when I had it here at Car Week about 3 years ago, which is kind of crazy. It's a lovely place to drive though, really nice to just chill and enjoy. And when I came around here last year, also with Mercedes-Benz Classic in a 300 SL Roadster, it was pure heaven. Driving this road in my favorite classic car of all time, and I make no secret that I'm a big Mercedes fan. I didn't used to be. It's something that's grown in recent years, especially with cars like this. Cars like the SLS and the GT Black Series and the number of miles I do with them. But in here, driving quite gently, I'm actually surprised by, let's say, how civilized it is. How civilized it is just to cruise with. Comfortable, normal. It's a CLK, I guess, at the end of the day. Because it's the end of car week, some of the cars are still loading up, and in fact, just there, we have an F12 TDF, SF90 Assetto Fiorano, Roma 812 GTS, another SF90, the trucks here from Autobox, who have actually moved my cars across the country many times before. So cool, actually, to see multiple of their trucks all here together. They do a lot of the Ferraris, as you can imagine. We've got a 430 Spider just there, and who knows what else is lurking. This is where all of the classic Ferraris, classic everything else gets picked up from, and we just happen to be driving past, which is quite a fun last goodbye to car week. The things you find, is that a 250 California Spider? Real or replica, I have no idea. In front of us here, there's certainly a Daytona. Behind the Daytona, we have a 328 or 348 or something as well. Just ridiculous, just absolutely, oh, it's a 512BB, sorry. Just absolutely ridiculous. And that brings, I think, an end to the car spotting this week. There's an Urus driving in front of us as well, but only the car spotting. We now have the fun at the Black Series down PCH. Now this is more like it. We're driving over the Bixby Bridge. We've got that view down towards the ocean. The roads start to twist and turn a little bit more through the hills, the curves, and exactly where you want to be. There have been a few bits of roadworks behind, and thankfully we were actually at the front and had a red light, which means we now have the open stretch in front of us to enjoy plenty of this. Now, in terms of configuration, it's not like a modern car where you can set everything up. You've got effectively one button to go through manual, comfort, sport, or back to manual. Manual, of course, means you have the manual gearbox, which is far from the quickest thing in the world, but when you have dropped it down, unleash those 507 ponies. Shifts up quite nicely when you're up towards more of the red line. On the downshift, you get a little bit of burbling going on behind. But it's just that raw sound, that emotional sound. It's quite interesting to drive this, obviously having done more miles in my C63 Black Series, because this is, in many ways, quite a similar car. Obviously, the CLK was the previous generation to the C-Class Coupe. In fact, when I was a little kid, my mum had a CLK convertible. It's a lovely car. And obviously, this is the, you could say, ultimate version. The CLK DTM perhaps takes that crown. Gosh, that just got foggy very quickly. Round a corner, and all of a sudden, we can barely see in front of us. But this, you know, with the amount of power it offers, with being a limited edition, with following up, and I think being part of the foundation of the Black Series badge and the Black Series brand is obviously something quite special. Where are we going? We've got like sunshine, but fog. This is really, really weird. Oh wow, look at that. Look at the way that just opened up into the sunshine. That's stunning. That is absolutely stunning. The beach down below. That's what you get with the scenery here. I actually think I prefer to drive it just in sport, automatic on the gearbox. Oh, this is perfection. This is glorious. This is absolutely fabulous. This soundtrack, this car, the red in the sunshine must look amazing. And these twisty roads as we make our way along. Now this is actually amazingly cool. I'm not quite sure if you can see it right now, but we're right above the clouds. Unfortunately, through the trees, you can't quite tell, but off in the distance, we have the inversion clouds that we're looking over, which is always, I don't know, quite an amazing spectacle, shall we say. I saw a lot of that back when I used to ski instruct in New Zealand, up in the mountains, looking out over the lakes. Absolutely breathtaking. The scenery here is unreal. Just beautiful, beautiful roads and locations. Unfortunately though, there we go. You can see that we're kind of above the clouds now, though we're coming back down a little bit. So it's not quite the same. So it opens up a little bit more. We've got that kind of fog going on again as we drive back through them. What an amazing place to be driving. You get a complete mixture of cars on this road. We're following a Taycan at the moment, but perhaps more interestingly than the Taycan is what's behind us, which is actually, I think, an E92 M3. And the reason I point out the E92 M3 is that's from exactly the same period as this CLK 63. They went up against one another back then, 2007, 2008, that kind of era, which is kind of fun. I thought that I would be really smart and we would pull in here in Morro Bay, where somewhere there is a pretty cool rock. Unfortunately, however, because of the weather, we can't see anything. So this has completely defeated the purpose. We actually pulled on to the piers here with the cars when I did fuel run with the GT. But this time around, that will be a no-go. But we were literally right here. Just then we had the view. You have to believe me, there's a really cool view with this massive rock just across the water here. Yeah, not so successful today. Not so successful in the slightest. I'm not sure, maybe we'll stop for lunch, maybe we'll keep going. Decision to be made in a moment. But anyway, little pause after about 2.5 hours, maybe nearly 3 hours on the road now. I feel rather defeated by this weather. A little bit different to when I was last here. It was in fact right there that I drove the Ford GT out onto the pier with Team Loan Sharks, Novatec and Largo 720S. that I actually drove a couple of months ago. We parked the two out there for some photos. But let's touch on this for a moment, which is still looking pretty clean, has to be said. The CLK Black Series is a very similar car to the C63 Black Series, which obviously I own. But driving this, I realised how much they actually managed to step up in those 5 years. Obviously the engine is much of a muchness, about 10 horsepower more in the C63. This is already about 25 up on the standard CLK 63 of that time. But it's more the gearbox, the refinement, the interior, that the C63 is just, I would say, leagues ahead. And I'm kind of working backwards through the Black Series, if you could say. So between the two of them was the SL65 with the biturbo V12, totally different thing to talk about again at another time. But this is a car that maybe I need to do more miles with, because at the moment I certainly prefer my C63, which I actually thought might be the other way. I thought I would madly crave one of these, and I do very much enjoy driving it, but it's very similar. And because it's so similar, it makes it hard to justify both, if you get what I mean. But the C63 just took these already pretty wild arches and made them significantly more wild and wider and just all around crazy. Anyway, I think we're going to continue from here in the hopes that we can beat some of the fog and overcast weather and try and find somewhere better to stop for lunch about half an hour further on. So let's continue. We have just had a lunch stop here, completely randomly on a recommendation at a place called the Madonna Inn. And this was a brilliant checkpoint on this drive when going from where we began down to Los Angeles, or to be honest, going the other way as well. The biggest thing that has changed, oh, that's kind of cool. Corvette right there. The biggest thing I was going to say that's changed is it's now 92 degrees Fahrenheit, which is something like 30 degrees Celsius, which is a little bit warmer than it was when we set off earlier. Just a little bit. Anyway, we're going to continue our drive. Also, this rather lovely machine is part of the drive as well, roof down. And on we go down towards the Mercedes-Benz Classic Center in Los Angeles. Unfortunately, not a whole lot we could do about this. We've been sitting in a bit of a traffic jam for a while. Some roadworks, I think, here, but basically traffic that has added about half an hour to the navigation ETA, and that is never fun. But while we are going a little bit slower, something else to talk about, by the way, these seats. Now, these are actually the regular CLK seats over here, as opposed to the European cars, which have bucket seats. And that's often a thing to do with regulations in the United States, different spec cars. And I find these seats, on a long run, a little bit firm on the lower back, like I do with most Mercedes and AMG seats, to be completely honest, whereas the buckets are fantastic. So obviously a European car would have buckets, and that would certainly be my preference. Now, another thing I think is actually quite unusual is that my instinct is to put the key in and turn the key to start the car, but you can do it keylessly and just press the button down here, which you do have. But I don't think my C63 Black Series has a start button. So the earlier car does and the later car doesn't. Just seems a little bit odd, completely randomly. Actually, maybe it does. I just never use it. Just always start the car with the key. I can't even remember properly right now. Hopefully this isn't going to be too much time in traffic, but it is destination LA at the end of the afternoon. And we're about 3 hours away. So if it's 3 hours from here, we've got to get all the way because we're heading down towards Long Beach area. Not quite as far as Orange County, but from here, that means heading past Malibu and Santa Monica and all the way down from there. And if you know anything about Los Angeles, you know that it likes its traffic jams. Maybe it doesn't like its traffic jams, but it's certainly very familiar with traffic jams. So let's see how this is going to go. It just keeps getting longer and longer. And if there wasn't any fog, we'd probably have some lovely views, because right over beside us actually here, looking to the right, is the Pacific Ocean. Tucked in there. But unfortunately, 0 miles per hour. 0. This car's actually done 29,000 miles. It's been with Mercedes-Benz since new, and it's the car obviously they keep out here at the Classic Center, where we're going, where we're effectively taking it back to after Car Week. But there are some other cool things about it as well. So you've got the DTM style steering wheel with the flat bottom, which just looks cool. You've got the dashboard here with the carbon inlays around the circular dials. Again, nice, all the carbon trim inside the car as well, and just, you know, cool elements, things that make it a Black Series, you know, the raw days of Black Series, because prior to this was only the SLK, which there are about, people think about 115 of them. So when this came along and they made 700, it was really the first time that this ethos was going in a car for everyone, especially here in the US, because the SLK was never available in the North American market. They were only Europe and other places around the world, whereas I think about half of these actually are in the USA. I think about 300, 350 of the 700 are over here, which is kind of crazy if you think about it. It'd be crazier though if we were able to get a move on faster. Alas, not for the time being. We have a little bit of a diversion right now through the Malibu Canyons. Oh look, M4, nice. Because up this way is a road I'd quite like to drive. So we've driven across through Thousand Oaks and Calabasas, over the Malibu Canyons, back towards PCH. But I figured given we are enjoying this car, right, we should come to some familiar roads, some roads that I have driven in the past and drive them again, some nice twisty roads, which is exactly what we have here. So I'm actually going to pop the car back into manual and wait till it opens up. When you see the signs that say next couple of miles are nice and twisty, that is exactly what you want to drive this thing. Now, I tell you what, before it does get super tight and twisty, one thing I do quite like about the steering is the weight of it when you're driving more aggressively. When you are pushing on, this car actually rides really well. The steering and control and feel is super spot on. Not ideal when you come up on a car that's basically standing still, which is slightly concerning. Okay, yeah, let's cruise at 5 miles per hour. I mean, you just gotta watch out, you never know what's gonna happen. Hopefully he's kind enough to let us go. Yes, he just drove across the middle of the road, so he's certainly distracted by something. Please pull out there. No, 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 okay, across the middle again. Dude, I have no idea what's happening there, but I would love this guy to let us go past, please. It's Canyon Road. I mean, he's all over the place, all over the place. Hopefully he's going to let us go. Finally, we have a bit of open road in front of us. Look at this, absolutely perfect. And so much V8 grumble and grunt to enjoy in here. It's funny because 500 horsepower, so I put my sunglasses back on as we're heading up straight towards the sun, is ample for a normal road. Honestly, this is just plenty, and it's very, very torquey as well. 600 plus Newton meters is certainly ample for this kind of thing also. I love this kind of twisty, turny, mountain pass, canyon road. What a place to be driving. Now this is so cool. Today we have been spoiled for views, aside from the construction just alongside us right here. Look at this! Look out over the clouds! The Pacific Ocean is over that way and we can actually see just under them. That is amazing. That's breathtaking. That's a stunning, stunning view. And meanwhile, we've got some lovely roads to take us down the hill, down towards Malibu. Oh my gosh, this is so cool. It's a bit distracting to be honest, but it's really, really cool. What a nice place to be, and the roads are deserted. Far cry from all of that traffic we were sitting in. And this is where, you know, you just lean on it a little bit, carries you through the corners. We're not at Mach 10. But we're plenty quick, to be honest, for this kind of road. Tie around the corner. Oh, this is good. This is good. The way this just rolls down the hill is quite frankly unreal. Super smooth tarmac, lovely bit of road, snaking across the mountainside. This is really, really nice. You'd probably want to be in a slightly smaller, lighter car, although this isn't a big car, but I think this is where, you know, something super nimble and agile is going to handle it a touch better. Not that this is doing a bad job. It's really, really fun to just roll it round, roll it down, enjoy the curves. This is what driving is about. This is exactly what it's about. Well, this is a nice view as we're now back alongside the ocean, heading from Malibu towards Santa Monica with a Wraith right in front of us. I just noticed as it happens. Satin silver Rolls-Royce Wraith. I'm sure there are plenty of supercars around in these parts, mostly tucked away in garages and things, but we will enjoy the kind of roll on in from here towards base. Not really that far to go now. Not that far in miles, but a very long way in driving time because LA in the evening, unfortunately. For once, we're actually flowing at the moment. The road is actually going at a decent pace, but pretty much for the last hour, we have been in stop and go traffic. I mean, no sooner have I said that than look, we're coming almost to a standstill again. And I don't get how people can handle this in Los Angeles. I don't think that I could live here and put up with this. The endless traffic. I mean, we're basically at a standstill again. Wherever you want to go, whenever you want to go there, it just takes hours and hours. And about 8 years ago, I did an extended period of a couple of months here, but based up near the 10, and it wasn't so bad anywhere I needed to go. But every time I come back and I go up and down from Hollywood, maybe up through to Burbank or something, down to Orange County, it takes so long. It takes so long from the valley down to OC at a bad time of day, 3.5 hours, 4 hours. I think I took a 3-hour, 45-minute Uber one time. From there all the way down. No fun. No fun at all. That is why Tesla based here are leading the charge with autonomous cars, because right now I would love this to be an autonomous CLK 63 Black Series, that I don't have to do anything, that I can just sit back and the car will do it all for me. But alas, we do not have that luxury, so I must be in control. Anyway, the sun is starting to set. At least it is a clear sky above us. I have no idea if we're going to get to the Classic Center before it is completely dark. Come to a stop again, why not? But we're going in the right direction. We only have 37 miles to go, and I hope it's not going to take too much longer. We've had a little whoops thanks to the navigation. Now, I'm a big champion of Waze, but today it has not done what we wanted of it. Anyway, we are now arriving at this gigantic 1 million square foot facility that Mercedes-Benz have here in Long Beach, which includes Mercedes-Benz Classic. I guess we turn in here, but also the new car delivery center and basically everything else in one facility that they could possibly need for the West Coast. And we're going to pull in here and go straight to the front door, I suppose. I think that's exactly where we're going to go, right here. We have made it to our destination just over 12 hours after we departed from our hotel this morning. Just over 12 hours later, but we're here. Which way are we? We've made it. We're done. What an adventure with the CLK 63 Black Series. It's a cool looking thing. It is a great thing to drive, and it is without a shadow of a doubt a car that I would like to add to my collection in the future. Now, if I had to choose between C63 AMG Black Series or CLK 63 AMG Black Series, I go for the C. There are 700 of these, there are 800 Cs, but the C is just, as I said earlier, that touch more refined. It's a touch more me as well. I think more my era. This was a little bit before. This came out about the time I got my driving license, just a year or two after I got my license. So I wasn't really thinking of that kind of thing at the time, whereas the W204 was much more, I guess, on my radar, in my sights. And I suppose the market dictates that as well. The prices of the C63 are about a 50% uplift, in the UK at least, over the CLK. But this is a cool car. In Mars Red, it's a really cool car. It's a fantastic thing, and hopefully one day it will join the Schmutmobiles. I've enjoyed today, 350 miles from Car Week in Monterey all the way down to where we are now at Mercedes-Benz Classic here in Long Beach, just, well, Los Angeles. I'm exhausted though. Let's leave it there. Thank you very much for watching as always, guys. I appreciate your support an awful lot, but that's it for this time. I'll see you again very soon. Cheers.